How's everybody? Good. Um, I've been really sort of pleased with the way the players have responded, this week in practice. I think we have a little better sense of urgency, a little more intensity in what we're doing. Um, we've worked, pretty well. I think when the game comes, everybody has the will to win. But I think the important thing is that you have the will to prepare, yourself to be able to play successfully, and that's through, preparation day in and day out, practice day in and day out, and practicing correctly so that you make the improvements that you need to make to become a better football player. And, we have individuals who most certainly can do that, just about everybody on our team. We can do things better from a coaching standpoint, which, we've tried to do. And, got to play for 60 minutes in the game and play winning football that way, which I don't personally feel like we've done all year. So, the desire that you have coupled with the commitment will certainly lead you in the right direction in terms of helping you be successful, and that's what our team needs to do. Ole Miss is, I think, a really good team. Very difficult preparation because what they're doing offensively now is not anything like what we've seen, to this point. The quarterback really creates a lot of problems and issues with his ability to run. He's a great runner and can throw it. So, option football is not something that we've seen a lot of. And, that's something that we've worked hard at. It takes a lot of discipline to play your responsibility when the ball moves, the point of attack moves. And, our players have to continue to work on that. We're just looking to try to get better as a team and have better team execution for 60 minutes in the game, and hope that we can do a good job. Homecoming is a traditional thing that, I know it's an opportunity for a lot of people to come back to something that's important to them, that they have a tradition of memories that go with their experience with the University of Alabama, and we'd certainly like to we appreciate the great atmosphere that homecoming provides, but we'd also like to provide, the people a positive experience in terms of what happens in our part of it relative to homecoming. So the injuries, Julio practiced today. He didn't have any problems from what he did yesterday. And, we just evaluate these things day to day. If he doesn't have any problems with what he did today, but he was able to catch balls today, he didn't run routes, he did practice with everybody else. We'll just continue to evaluate, his progress. DJ is making progress, but he has not been able to practice. So, I'm quite certain that he will not play this week, and we'll just have to continue to evaluate him.
Coach, how special is it that tight end Michael Williams was able to also play defensive end in high school, and how does that prepare him for playing at Alabama?
Well, I think that when guys play both ways in high school, I know that in this day and age, a lot of guys become specialty players. They see themselves only as one thing, only as a receiver, only as a linebacker, only as a corner, whatever it is. But when guys have played on both sides of the ball, I think they have a better overall big picture understanding of, concepts of football that you try to teach. Obviously, if he has to block a defensive end, he knows what he was coached to do when he was a defensive end, so that can be helpful to him being able to execute better now as an offensive player. So it just kind of expands your resource of knowledge and information so that you can develop more quickly. On the other hand, players that sometimes play different positions in college than they played in high school, takes them a little longer to develop because they don't have any of that knowledge and experience to sort of grow on and build with.
Coach, obviously this is related to Julio in some ways, but just in general, how much does a receiver now in college have to use his hands just to get off the line to do things other than catch the football in your offense or just in college?
Well, I think that you use your hands all the time. You use your hands when you block. You use your hands when you got to release off of tight coverage, especially anybody that plays bump and run. And, Miss plays a lot of cover one, a lot of man-to-man coverage. And, you know, he needs to have use of his hand. But, you know, catching the ball is something that you use your hands with as much as anything, and so far he's been able to do that. You know, we did have him use his hands on bags today. Maybe people tomorrow. You know, we just have to wait and see.
How do you see the SEC West race at this point in the season?
I mean, I don't know. You know, we're just focusing on, you know, our games are what we can control. You know, trying to win one game at a time, trying to prepare our team to play well one game at a time. There's a lot of good teams in the West, and you know, if we can take care of our business, you know, things will work out well for us. If we can't, then they won't. But we control that by what we do. So that's what we focus on. And we can't really control what anybody else does, but we can control what we do. So we have to focus on being ready to play our best football, continuing to improve, do the things with the players that we have that we can do best to give our players the best chance to be successful. And that's what we can control. So I know there's a lot of good teams, you know, in the SEC, and most certainly in our division. And, you know, but great competition is what should make you better, and that should be the challenge to our players.
Coach, if you could assess the play of Josh Chapman and the rest of the interior defensive linemen, how they've played inside this season so far.
Well, I think that all the guys have, you know, done a decent job in terms of, you know, playing blockers, and we haven't probably made as many big plays in terms of tackles for losses. We haven't finished on a quarterback a lot, which is something that we need to improve on. We probably don't have as many sacks, tackles for loss, things like that. Not that we haven't had the opportunities, we haven't finished. And, you know, we had an opportunity on 4th and 2 to get a tackle for a loss in the last game, which would have been a huge play in the game, and we didn't finish. And then the guy breaks out, and we lose contain, and he makes a first down. So I think that's the number one thing that I would like to see us do better up front is finish, you know, finish plays, finish on blocks, finish on the quarterback, and that's what we've been focusing on with those guys. We've been playing the blockers okay. We haven't been, you know, soft on the line of scrimmage, but we got to finish more things better.
Kind of goes along the same line. Talking to some of the players this week, they talked about fundamentals. It was almost like going back to camp. Is that how you see it in practice this week?
Well, I think there's some fundamental things that you can never get away from. You know, for example, tackling on defense. If you don't get your body in the right position when you finish a play, and it goes back to finishing a play, to make a tackle, you will put yourself in poor position in the game to make a tackle. Even though we don't tackle everybody and take them to the ground, you have to get yourself in the correct position to be able to thud the guy, roll your hips, and do all those things. Well, we have harped and harped and harped and harped on our guys all year long to finish, you know, finish. Thud the runner, finish, do what you're supposed to do. Well, you know, we haven't done that great as a team, so what happens in the game? We start missing tackles. And we've just gone back and now been able to use this experience and knowledge that we've learned about ourselves, and now players are willing to respond and try to do it correctly. So hopefully, you know, it'll help our tackling, and we'll become a better tackling team. But that's just one example. You know, there's many areas that you could talk about that we can improve on, and that's what we're trying to focus on.
With Fluker out and Alfred moving up, who kind of takes Alfred's spot as the third tackle?
Well, Tyler Love, you know, is, you know, on one side, and John Michael Boswell can play right tackle. And, you know, we haven't played him yet, but R.E. has also worked at tackle most of the year. So if it was necessary to play him, we'd try to get him ready to play.
Coach, just wondering how Courtney Upshaw's ankle's doing.
His ankle's fine. I mean, he practiced today, and, you know, he should be okay for the game if he doesn't have any reoccurring problems. Well, you know, the guy's got a great feel for, you know, running the offense that they're running now, which is more of an Oregon-style offense, you know, and it's still got a lot of the typical, you know, Houston nut things that they've done, downhill, run the power, you know, do all that stuff. But the option part of it, the guy is extremely quick. He's physical as a runner. He's a good thrower. He's a good scrambler. And he makes plays throwing it off of scrambling. So he is probably the best combination guy that, you know, we've seen for a while, you know, around here in terms of his ability to run the ball, make plays with his feet, and you have to have a tremendous amount of respect for him as a passer as well. Thanks, Coach. All right, thank you.